concern you, taking 12 penalties still at this point of the season?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you win the game, but it's always stuff you can work on. And against really, really good opponents in the West and in the playoffs, we got to minimize those penalties. I think we're probably, one or two in the league and getting penalties. So that's definitely concerning, and we got to echo that throughout the team. We got to work on it.
I asked Coach if there's such thing as a good penalty, but I don't know if we fully appreciate how quickly things happen. And you've got to make a split-second decision.
Absolutely.
Are some flags unfair, though, because of that?
I mean, I wouldn't say they're unfair. Refs are human as well, so they're going to make mistakes. So I wouldn't say that it's unfair, but for us, we got to do everything in our ability not to let penalties dictate the game and not get penalties. Do your job. You can't. It can't be the same guys repeating the same penalties every single week. Whether that's holding, and things like holding is going to happen. But even things like unsportsmanlike or roughing the passer, those are things we can control, and we got to cut those out.
I thought Micah brought up a good point though last week, saying sometimes you have to put your head down
to
make it hit, and unfortunately,
yeah. Those type of things, will happen because it's football. They teach you the perfect way to tackle every single day, but you're playing it at a full different speed. When you're actually on the field. So sometimes you may duck your head, and it's not because you're trying to hit with the crown of your helmet or injure somebody, but maybe you're trying to protect yourself sometimes, and the natural instinct is for you to actually duck your head. So that's gonna happen sometimes, but for us, we gotta be conscious of that and figure out a way to clean that up.
Okay, how not devastating, but when you see another flag toss or you see the yellow in the air, what goes through your mind?
For me, it's always next play mentality, but those things got to get addressed, whether it's during the game or halftime or after the game. Those things must be addressed, And for the best teams, especially late in the year when it's getting cold and you can't throw the ball as much, you gotta rely on not getting penalties and not turning the ball over. So for us, those two things are probably the biggest thing, when you look at the game within the game when it comes down to winning and losing.
You guys are 5-5. Is this team primed to go on a bit of a run now heading into Toronto?
Man, 1 week at a time. For us, we're 5-5, but when we were losing, we still felt like we were a good team and we weren't dysfunctional. And now that we're winning, we don't feel any different. For us, just coming out here, taking it one practice at a time, one game at a time, and then look up, and then hopefully we are where we need to be. But everybody's focused on making sacrifices and figuring out a way to get better, and I think that's going to help us.
How do you see this Toronto football team? I see a football team that really has trouble running the ball this year, but they have no problem airing it out.
I mean, that's the Grey Cup champs. So, every time we go to Toronto, whether they've been good in the past or whether they haven't been so good, it's always been a battle. So for us, we got to go in there with the mindset of we want to come out and dominate every snap, dominate every possession, and not so much focus on the record, but focus on our formula and what we do to win.
Okay, I want to ask you about somebody that thankfully you don't have to defend, but you see him in practice like Keon Hatcher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I've always said he's either one or two top receivers in the league. Got so much respect for the guy and how he works day in, day out. Has really strong hands, runs really great routes, and he has great size on him. So a lot of times you don't see a great receiver with the size and all those intangibles that he has. And every year I'm fighting for him to come back on our team. So I'm glad I don't have to play against him. For sure.